So, let's go back to The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. Over 10 years ago.
Yep.
How does that feel?
Aging. And liberating, actually, as well, because I suppose when you play something like Mr. Tumnus, you're dead grateful and you think it's brilliant, and also, you know, I loved that character when I was growing up.
If you don't mind my asking, what are you?
Well, I'm a faun. And what about you? You must be some kind of beardless dwarf?
I'm not a dwarf.
Well.
I'm a girl.
You kind of go like, all right, so I'm going to be playing this kind of person, that's the kind of actor I am. And then you look back and 10 years later, you've rarely had to play the same kind of character more than once or twice. So I feel really lucky as well as it making me feel really old.
The fawn stereotype hasn't hit home.
No, I managed to get away from being trapped in playing the horny goat.
When I was younger at school, I saw that movie, and as I was watching it, I went, oh no. Because I walked out and went, everyone's going to call me
Mr. Tumnus. You've got a bit of Tumnus going on.
I'm sorry, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Tumnus.
Pleased to meet you, Mr. Tumnus.
It was a nightmare. I watched it going,
have you ever tried to kidnap an 8-year-old girl?
Hang on, let me think. No,
good.
I haven't,
nice.
no.
Yeah, well, you're probably doing all right now.
So I'm fine. But I've got to ask about that makeup process, because back in the day, I guess it wasn't that quick. Getting the ears right.
Yeah, no, it was all right, actually. There was a lot of CGI back in that time even, but it was all hand-laid hair. It wasn't like a wig piece all over my body. It wasn't a suit. It was sort of like labour-intensive, 5 bits of hair glued onto me at a time and then curled and beautifully sort of hair-dried by hair dryers. And yeah, it was long. It was like 3.5 hours. But there's worse things, you know what I mean? I think Oscar in XMen Apocalypse, he beats it hands down. It was like 5.5 hours for him or something.
Real mature.
Also, Jennifer Lawrence's Mystique. I mean, that can't be fun.
Blue. You're my oldest friend.
I'm your only friend.
Yeah, I think they've gotten that down. I think it was maybe something like 8 hours 6 years ago, and it's down to sort of 90 minutes now. I think, please don't tell her it's 90 minutes if it's not, in which case she's going to come in and kick my head in.
So after all of this, it's like, are you kidding? I'm not taking this off.
What do you think you learned from watching Benedict Cumberbatch do a slap attack on Dominic Cooper in Starter for 10?
And if you've got something to say to me, you say it to my face, all right?
Oh yeah, of course. The windmill.
Spencer!
What did I learn from Benny Boy? That grotesque is funny. That you can be a serious actor and you can be a funny actor at the same time.
Excuse me, but we're trying to do a quiz here and it's against the clock.
It's got to be done sometime.
This man has been sent from the offices of University Challenge.
Was Starter for 10, which is a movie that I think it's impossible not to like. It's one of those...
I think so, and nobody watched it at the time. It's one of the best reviewed movies I've ever been in, and nobody went to see it at the cinema. I know.
It's also full of people that have gone on to amazing things, including yourself. James Corden, casually in that one.
You're not going to turn into a wanker, are you? What?
Rebecca Hall, Alice Eve, the list goes on.
I know.
Hope that's not an alcoholic beverage in your hand there.
But yeah, it was a really good time. And the fact that we've all gone on to do great things since is secondary to the fact that we all felt really close and together. And, you know, you don't get that a lot. We got it on X-Men, but that's probably the 2 major times I've had it that strongly, you know.
Let me help with that.
I'm all right, thanks.
Take the flowers.
I'm all right.
Take the flowers.
I'm all right.
It's interesting you went from, just coincidentally, you went from Atonement and then quite soon afterward there's Wanted, which is just an entirely different film.
I always remember on Atonement doing a scene with Bryony, with Saoirse, when she, I think, pretends to be drowning and I have to jump in and I had to run about and jump in and be all sort of dashing and save her. And Joe was like, hey, you're quite good at that, you should do an action movie. And that day I got called up by my agent saying, hey, so this thing Wanted, have you read it? And I was like, oh yeah, what's that all about? She was like, yeah, they want you to do it.
Look, the liquor aisle's just over there, so if you want to
Father
go...
was one of the greatest assassins who ever lived. The man who killed him is behind you.
How was it pitched to you? Because I would like to think they go, right, it is utterly bonkers, it's a slow motion action, and it's got Angelina Jolie in it. Are you up for it?
It didn't have Angelina in it when I signed on.
She only signed on after you signed on.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hello.
It wasn't pitched to me, really. Not at all. I think they just thought, you'll be lucky if he gets it. So they don't have to pitch it to you then, do you know?
What was it like to shoot alongside Angelina Jolie when you had that train scene, for example? Where you have to do all the kind of gunplay. Was there a moment going, is this really happening? Am I actually doing this?
Yeah, no, totally. I had a lot of those moments. And I think I'd probably appreciate them even more now, simply because I find that certainly when I got to about 28, 29, I started to just chill out and sit back and and be in the moment much more, as a person, but as a performer also. And I've enjoyed it a lot more since.
Just because there's not a war doesn't mean there's peace. You want to teach your kids something, teach them that. Teach them to fight. Otherwise, they might as well live in this house for the rest of their
You
lives.
still sound just like him. You sound just like Eric.
That's why I'm here. He's resurfaced.
Tell me, you're offered the role, or you get given the role, or you audition for the role of Professor X. Mm-hmm. How much of a weight is there on you to live up to Patrick Stewart's legacy?
I feel a great swell of pity for the poor soul.
Not too much, really. I was really fortunate. I just got offered the role.
Heterochromia. A gentleman would at least offer to buy me a drink first.
They said, you look great bald in 3 movies' time.
Yeah, in 6 years' time. I was surprised that they were offering Charles to me, but I thought, whatever, I'm doing it.
Whatever, I am doing it.
Whatever, I'm doing it. It's filming 40 minutes from my house. It's good money. I'm in. I often remember my agent, because my agent wasn't sent the script. Nobody was sent the script. I had to go to I think I went to a Vapiano to read it. I don't know why we're in a Vapiano.
Other mid-range Italian restaurants are available.
Yep. And the director and the director's assistant, Cleo, was in there, and so I sat down and read the script, and there was 40 pages of it, and I was like, where's the rest? And they were like, that's all we've got right now. But I was just so keen to play Charles, and also the first 40 pages for Charles were really, really good. It was really fun and exciting, and I thought I could really amp that up and go much further with it and take him, like all that stuff where he's drinking in the bar and all. We could really go for it, make him a bit womanizing, a bit like in love with himself and all that.
Mutant and proud.
Chin chin, hey.
I guess I have to buy my own drink.
So I remember phoning my agent. She went, what was it like? And I went, it's brilliant. It is brilliant. And she went, does it hold your attention all the way through? And I went, to the very last page. I am in. I've told her that since. But I just thought, you know, it's Charles Xavier.
I won't stop you leaving. I could. But I won't.
And I'd loved that character growing up. I'd also been a huge fan of Patrick's, from Dune to Star Trek to into the original XMen movies in 2000. So there's a lot of baggage and legacy sort of there for me to take into it. But me personally as a performer, separated from how I felt about all that history, I was excited by the fact that I was getting to go in and do something very different from Patrick and subvert what the audience regarded as a Charles Xavier type of character. And I got to do that in the first movie. I was really lucky to do that massively in the second movie.
Charles!
And then in this one, the new acting challenge for me is owning that archetype and owning that icon. And that's the new thing for me now.
How long was the conversation? I know in blockbusters everything gets talked about. How long was the conversation deciding how you were going to do the temple touch?
No, there was no conversation, I just did it.
Eric. You just did it, you just felt it?
I just thought, I always felt I didn't want to be doing a hard stare, do you know? And so I thought I wanted to do something that physicalized it and helped the audience realize what I was up to, that didn't involve me just frowning a lot.
This comes back. They all come back.
And also there's precedent in the comic books as well. I always think physicalizing things is more interesting than just a close-up of a guy looking vaguely blank. Vaguely blank or specifically blank? So that I was into that. But now Charles is so much more powerful, doesn't have to touch his head.
He's that good.
He's other people to do that for him. Yeah, so it was... it was just, I'm always looking to physicalize things. And it's why I love, I want to, if we go forward and do more, it's why I wanted to make sure he had a manual wheelchair at times as well, because I didn't want him to just be this like entitled rich dude that was like flying about in a hover chair, although that would be awesome. Fox, Simon Kinberg, anybody that's writing it, flying chair would be awesome. Power suit, that'd be cool too. But I wanted him to have a manual wheelchair because a part of, one of the things I love about playing Charles as well is that you're playing somebody who is significantly physically disabled and he's a superhero. And we need to own that and explore that a little bit. So we explore it a tiny bit.
And it worked. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to keep up to date. You can listen to my Radio 1 movies and TV podcast, Screen Time, on BBC Sounds. And you can find these interviews in full on BBC iPlayer by searching Movies with Ali Plumb.